Imagine this. You're at home watching your favorite show when this scene happens.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
At the time of airing, you may not have known or understood what that may have meant, but on future rewatches, specifically around 2016 and onwards, it seems like The Simpsons predicted Trump's presidency. But that can't be true. They couldn't have predicted it, right?
No, they didn't. It's a coincidence, but you search online about it and see that many people do think so. And you fall through this whole rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, and it becomes this whole thing, even if it may seem stupid. Because really, with all the information out in our world, why do people believe in conspiracy theories? Is a question that needs to be answered given the rise of it in recent years. Before, some people would never take it so seriously. It was lighthearted and fun, aliens at Roswell or celebrity clones. But now, in our current political instability, we see that word thrown around with serious implications like anti-vaccines or voter fraud that is doing more harm than good. Before we begin, it's best if we define what we are talking about.
According to Merriam-Webster, it's defined as a theory that explains an event or set of circumstances as a result of a secret plot by usually powerful conspirators. A big event has to have a big and powerful actor behind it. Also known as a theory asserting that a secret of great importance is being kept from the public. People believe conspiracy, simple or extensive, and you'll find that you can categorize what types of people will believe in what types of theories. For example, if it's more political based, Republicans believe in conspiracy theories to protect their political interests, or men will endorse conspiracies related to for example, compared to women due to conspiratorial thoughts, which leads us to think that major events and problems have an underlying conspiracy behind them. It's fascinating to understand what goes on to make someone believe things so wildly fake, especially if it might be orchestrated by a person or a group working behind the shadows.
Even so, many don't see it that way, that conspiracy theories are false beliefs. Big events should equally have big and powerful people behind them. So, certain answers to events such as the JFK assassination don't explain such large-scale events. Regardless of origin, anything could be believable. So it makes it harder to pinpoint any exact reason to explain anything. It's a sum because a reason for one person isn't the same for another. Conspiracy theories, as stated by Lance DeHaven Smith in Conspiracy Theory in America, vary widely in terms of their supporting evidence and plausibility, meaning that many, to varying degrees of evidence, actually have belief in these theories. But because of that, only so few make sense and warrant investigation, while others do not. So several factors are at play here to understand why conspiracy theories like the earth is flat have so many people rallying behind them, because there is just enough evidence, despite it being false or even a small amount, that hooks people into believing. Even so, and it is a rarity, some conspiracy theories have come true, such as the Watergate scandal and suspicion of Nixon's actions. Keep in mind, many theories are unfounded and not credible at all. True or not, what these beliefs have in common and why people believe them is to help satisfy a desire for understanding and certainty around us. First reason out of many.
People just want to make sense of the world. If you can't explain something logically, you ask, what's going on? Why did this happen? Stuff like that.
We ask questions that we want answers to, that comforts us even if it isn't the truth or ends up not being the truth. There are those who will seek out answers that maintain their beliefs, even if it's false, because conspiracy theories, again, give people a sense of understanding and certainty of how the world works, mainly a way to explain specific events.
You'll find, according to a November 2023 YouGov survey from a poll of 1,000 adult U.S. citizens, 24% believe vaccines have shown to cause autism, or 18% believe that this 1969 Apollo landing didn't occur. Even with evidence that proves the falsehoods of these claims, you'll have devotees. But how does someone actually fall into the trap of conspiracy theories? How do you not see the sign that something is off, especially in the age of the internet? You may be wondering. There are various reasons, but studies show that beliefs in conspiracy theories and a person's educational level have a connection. If you have a low educational status, you tend to be associated with higher levels of conspiracy beliefs, or having lower analytical abilities means it'll be difficult for you to interpret the data or information about the conspiracy theory,
making you more likely to believe the conspiracy theory and accepting the truth or narrative you agree with, even if it's false, because you just may not understand or see the reasonable explanations.
That brings up confirmation bias. WebMD defines confirmation bias as a psychological term for the human tendency to only seek out information that supports one's position or idea. So as they do research and come across a theory that supports their beliefs, they're more likely to take that information as confirmation, as truth. When I think about confirmation bias within this topic, the anti-vax movement comes to mind. We saw a strong force of that a couple of years ago, where people claimed that the vaccines during were harmful despite evidence proving otherwise.
Exactly. The anti-vaccine movement has been around for centuries now, actually, with various groups like the Anti-Vaccination Society of America or the Anti-Compulsory Vaccination League in the UK, who formed against vaccine mandates. As long as vaccines exist, there has been opposition to it, perhaps due to religious reasonings or from a general distrust in medicine. And when a vaccine is mandated to stop a spread of disease, it increases that hesitancy. So if you have a distaste for vaccines or other forms of medicine as a whole, hearing or researching that it's bad for you for a number of reasons will sway you to continuing that narrative without taking a look at the other side. But it's always a good thing to research on both sides of any given topic, because what you can find with anti-vaxxers is that purposeful misinformation is spread, increasing that hesitancy.
You'll come to find out that various reasons are generally connected. While some want just clarity, and so the belief that Bigfoot is real comes to be, we have a human tendency to seek patterns to make sense and explain the unknown. Like, dark clouds means a storm is approaching. That's logical. However, for certain theorists, when trying to seek patterns that aren't there, they're more prone to illusionary pattern perception. So far-fetched concocted stories fill our minds and bring that clarity that we want.
So why do conspiracy theorists sometimes see connections that just aren't there? Neuroscientists believe it may be due to extra dopamine in their brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter involved in emotion, reward, and cognition. It's thought to be especially important in decision-making, as it helps people find signal in noise. People with genetically higher levels of free dopamine are more likely to believe in one or more conspiracy theories. In fact, in an experiment where a drug to increase dopamine levels was administered to non-believers, they behaved more like believers, seeing patterns in random shapes. But it just doesn't add up. Egyptian alien gods, flat earth, Illuminati, lizard men. How can conspiracy theorists keep on believing these improbable ideas without coming to terms with the literal mountains of evidence?
If you go back and take a look at anti-vaxxers, while some believe and participate in the activities to increase hesitancy and knowingly spread misinformation, such as the MMR vaccine having false claims that it gave people autism by former Dr. Andrew Wakefield, which was disproving years later. Even so, Wakefield and many others stand tall in this belief and continue to spread it. Others believe it because they already had a preconceived idea about vaccines, and this helped reinforce that pattern and confirm that bias. In addition, people believe in these theories also for the need for control and security. The need for security in this uncertain world, or the need to have control over your own body.
So when mandates are put in place, it unfortunately restricts that agency. For example, a resident, Henry Jacobson, in 1905 in Massachusetts believed this to be so. He refused the vaccination against smallpox because he believed it violated his right to take care of his own body the way he knows how. He was charged for that under the basis that in order to protect the public, because smallpox is known to have killed 300 to 500 million people in that century alone, the mandates needed to be put in place. A truly troubling dilemma then. It seems this is still prevalent now with so the need for clarity, control, and security allows confirmation bias to only stand firmly, preventing necessary conversation, feedback, or progress from happening. Meaning that believing in conspiracy theories doesn't only have an impact on individual behavior, such as you yourself not wanting to take vaccines, but when you spread misinformation about the potential benefits of it, it has an impact on society as well, which can contribute to more outbreaks or the lasting effects of ones already present. Remember to always do your own research and don't be purely blinded on one side only.
We are barely scratching the surface of the question at hand. If we take the need to maintain a positive image into account, I believe that can get others to understand why people easily believe in conspiracy theories. As humans, we at some point want to be a part of a collective. We desire it. So two things happen. We want to identify with others who share our own values and beliefs, or we end up adapting the group's identity, such as the way they dress or speak. So when fed with repeatedly false information, we are more likely to believe it and then repeat it ourselves. It's that normative conformity that causes us to adjust our own thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors to align with the group's majority.
Two.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence. Ash found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
One.
They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me.
One.
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1. 2. 1.
2.
2.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2.
Or another result is group influence, that causes us to be influenced and trust in others' thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors who are a part of the group, typically when they seek validation or positive approval from them. In these groups, we want to feel intelligent and put forward an ideal perception of ourselves. So believing in certain theories allows individuals to maintain their sense of self-worth and to look more knowledgeable compared to others. It's interesting that wanting to feel special or social influences conspiracy theories. An example where this is prevalent is if we can take a look at either the 9/11 truth movement that suggests the government's insider involvement in that tragic event, or the belief that the moon landing was fake. What both of these examples have in common is the skepticism of the government and authority, camaraderie with others with similar beliefs, and rejection of alternate explanations. Despite the vast evidence from various groups and experts on disproving conspiracy beliefs for not only what happened on 9/11 but with the moon landing, many will still believe that there were pre-orchestrated or staged. Imagine the kick someone can get by proudly rejecting what experts are putting out. They perceive themselves as critical thinkers who question authority, aren't easily persuaded by the mainstream, and are on a mission to seek the quote-unquote truth, whatever that looks like to them. Their self-image and self-esteem gets boosted when they challenge what is considered the norm or status quo, and it increases when they are part of a group that shares similar beliefs. That desire of belonging shapes your self-image and gives you an identity to boot. So believing in these conspiracy theories gives these people a way to better their self-image while appearing knowledgeable, on top of belonging to a group that shares our beliefs. Goes to show how complex the mind is. Our desire and need to understand and be in control shapes our self-perception and personal beliefs. Even with all we've said, some will say that believing in conspiracy theories should really only go far into believing the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot or aliens. When you take into account other theories, it's like a flood of hatred or paranoia. Something that just amplifies fear that already exists in you. And with the access to the internet or social media, for example, perpetuates these conspiracy theories to a large group, which in my mind seems like a disaster waiting to happen. Very much so. With the rise of the internet, where more people are joining social media, finding conspiracy theories, finding groups that match their beliefs, the spread of misinformation is prevalent because of how easy it is to spread such content, especially on sites like Reddit or Twitter. So it's not necessarily that social media is at fault, but that it's used as a tool. Social media acts like an echo chamber for conspiracy theories because of its easy access to feed your beliefs. And by following those who believe what you do, by joining forums or Facebook groups, you create a shared identity. That's why despite fact-checking or debunking conspiracy theories or misinformation, they don't work. They even end up strengthening these communities. That was where we saw how scary it can be. Believing in conspiracy theories can be dangerous. We really saw that during conspiracy theorists claimed that was a hoax or a tool for controlling the population, especially when the vaccines came around, because there was a belief that you were getting microchipped. How such beliefs can escalate using social media, and I'm restating some points made earlier, is because 1. People would view different content to confirm their own beliefs. 2. They would selectively pick information from their original sources to further their beliefs. 3, they will protect their information or evidence by trying to discredit others. And 4, people will seek approval from more mainstream audiences, recruit more people, and call for violent actions. With the use of social media and the internet where people are chronically online, conspiracy theories even motivate people or groups to engage in violence. We saw that during January 6, 2021. Our then president was heavily on social media. He really utilized it as a tool during his presidency, which allowed for his ideologies to spread despite proof otherwise. But that didn't matter because his words, ideas spread among the public or his fans that till this day, there are those who believe what he said, that the election was stolen. Then the call to storm the Capitol happened, and we all know what happened next. Social media, while it has its great usage, it has its cons as well, making it easier to connect and get exposed to various conspiracy theories that end up just being overwhelming to handle. Exposure leads to an increase of belief, distrust in political participation, in the government, in medicine. It reinforces feelings of insecurity, confusion, lack of security or control. It impacts on your individual behaviors, but society as well. Like how not taking vaccinations or not giving your kids vaccines contributes to outbreaks further, or any other violent or dangerous acts that stem from these beliefs. Of course, whether it's because individuals are so strong with their beliefs that they refuse the opposition, or someone suffering from misinformation organized by a party, tragedy definitely can befall that individual and or others. Some have had bad intentions, while others probably had good intentions but were misguided. We've seen actions being taken to the beliefs of conspiracies for decades now, like burning witches in Salem. That's where the troubling effect in conspiracy beliefs arises with the potential actions that come after.
That one phony item led to a dangerous situation in Washington.
Take Edgar Welch. A 28-year-old man at the time went into a pizzeria on the false pretenses called Pizzagate that children were being used at that establishment, which also doubled as a child sex trafficking ring. Pizzagate is a conspiracy theory back in 2016, very popular in the Republican crowd during the election, that was said to have linked members of the Democratic Party to the sex trafficking ring. Luckily, no one was physically harmed, but their emotional and mental states were definitely affected. It all could have been much worse, but it still had a damaging effect on many lives, and it stemmed from believing in conspiracy theories. A worst case scenario would be what happened on January 6, 2021, like mentioned before. Falsely claiming the 2020 election was stolen from Trump led to a violent insurrection on the Capitol, resulting in vandalism, clash between protesters and officers, and multiple deaths. This is a prime example of everything we've discussed today. How could the man set to win lose? The election was stolen. Voter fraud. We got our understanding down in the midst of this election chaos. That helps avoid any discomfort with the outcome of the election and maintains consistency of their own confirmation bias about who will be president. The desire for control and security. Taking action against what they believe is infringing on their political beliefs. A sense of power and pride comes about when you also do this alongside like-minded individuals, reinforcing your self-image in the eyes of your comrades next to you as you are actively going against corruption, against tyranny in the government that you believe is there. This is all the markers for believing such a theory. Yeah, and we can't forget the spread of misinformation due to those unfound claims that weren't backed by any concrete evidence. And so when you have no one realizing that, this just amplifies their existing beliefs and distrust. And this was all promoted by Trump himself and his like-minded supporters through the use of social media, constantly talking about its rigged elections, giving people droplets that if he were to lose, then this could only be the reason why. Encouraging your supporters to fight fuels their anger, paranoia, and betrayal, leading them to take drastic action against corruption and dishonesty. This is extremely important to emphasize because people who are in vulnerable positions or are so emotionally invested might not be able to listen to reason, and who knows what the potential outcome of that could be. A prime example indeed on the dangerous impact of conspiracy theories and the psychological motivations behind it, but it is one of many. A dangerous situation that has come and gone. What about something that has affected our daily lives and still continues to do so? You see serious consequences when believing climate change and global warming is a hoax.
Whether it's because of political ideology, companies protecting their own interest, or confirmation bias, it is hard to deny the real-world proof that delay in action and not engaging in course-correcting practices is causing habitats to be destroyed, biodiversity degradation, impacting wildlife and human life, or even increasing distrust in various institutions, preventing even less belief in their next reports.
There's a complexity that goes behind the beliefs of these conspiracy theories. They definitely play on us emotionally. I'll definitely encourage the audience to analyze what we come across carefully online, lest it leads to an unfavorable outcome.
Okay, wow, that was a lot to go through, but before we end, let's play a game to see if you are listening. Question 1. What are the main reasons for why people believe in conspiracy theories? A. The desire for understanding / uncertainty, control / security, and maintaining self-assurance. B. Desire for understanding / certainty, control / security, and maintaining a positive self-image. C. The desire for misinformation / uncertainty, control / security, and the influence of social media.
Choice B. The desire for understanding / certainty, control / security, and maintaining a positive self-image.
Correct. What is a consequence of believing conspiracy theories? A. Increased trust in scientific institutions and the government. B. Reduced participation in civic activities. C. Enhanced critical thinking skills.
Choice B again. Reduced participation in civic activities. Due to growing distrust in institution, it will affect your involvement, like with voting.
Correct. What drives some people to believe and participate in conspiracy theories? A. A sense of belonging and identity. B. Social media trends. C. A need for excitement and thrills. D. Cognitive biases such as confirmation bias.
Choice A and D. A sense of belonging and identity, and cognitive biases such as confirmation bias. Conspiracy theories can allow people to engage with others in shared beliefs, giving them a community to belong to, resulting in influences from these communities amplifying pre-existing beliefs. But it also doesn't exclude other reasons such as the lack of critical thinking or being too emotionally invested. These are factors that play significant roles in shaping people's beliefs. Okay, I've got a question for you. What are strategies that can be used to address conspiracy theory beliefs? Care to free answer this one?
Well, let's see. We need to promote critical thinking skills and media literacy. Evaluating what we come across online or in person objectively will make us better to assess the credibility of what we are viewing instead of taking things by face value. We need to question what we come across, seek evidence, and dismiss any biases that might cloud our judgment. In our day and age where the internet is used as a tool to create media-ready content on literally whatever, we need to be able to navigate the space and distinguish information from misinformation, credible and non-credible sources, to help reduce manipulation from tactics employed to deceive us.
Correct. This is a long-term plan that we need to be working towards starting today. Investing in education brings that awareness to the psychological factors behind beliefs and the potential harm that arises from it. We need to mitigate the influences of conspiracy theories. Truly understanding the reasonings behind why people believe in conspiracy theories opens up more interconnected topics you would not have imagined before.
There's a lot of reasons, as we showed, that can answer why people believe conspiracy theories. And if such conspiracy theories exist, it could all just be a coincidence. I mean, going back to The Simpsons, the writers aren't somehow having future knowledge that they are including on their show. So they didn't know about Trump's presidency back in 2000. But you may believe in that conspiracy theory without realizing there's a logical explanation. Trump was already a figure talking about running for president at that time. The writers included him as a warning for the current way America was going in. See? Just a coincidence.
But I guess if it's just for harmless fun and banter about your favorite things, why people believe in conspiracy theories and the possibilities out there is because it's just a really cool thing to ponder over.